Alrighty, hello everyone. I'm gonna take you on a little trip through Need for Speed 3. Okay, so, pretty much we're just gonna be going through the whole tournament. We're gonna be going through all 8 normal tracks. It's gonna be 4 laps apiece, and yeah. Alrighty, so, okay, simple race, tournament, arcade mode, beginner. Here's where we're going. Alright, so that's the car we're going to be using later, but for the first 4 tracks we need to be in volunteer. So, here we are. Alright, so the moment I hit enter on this screen is when we go. So, ready for the countdown? Ready for the countdown. Alrighty. So after I say 1, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Okay, so there are 2 runners for this specific category. There's me, and there's another runner by the name of Yunn. So, she currently has the world record. She's on emulator, and apparently her loads are very busted quick because she is several minutes ahead of me RTA. But the thing is, the board is factored off of in-game time, which I didn't calculate. So, we're going to be seeing, after this run, if this PB's RTA, how close I am to her run. So, here we are at Hometown, which is a very straightforward, very quick track. Laps around here take about a minute-ish, so we should be in and out of here pretty quickly. So the way this game is structured, there are 4 beginner tracks and 4 advanced tracks. So the advanced tracks take place in pretty much the same area that the beginning tracks do. However, they branch out into a more scenic and a lot more technical route. So right here, we're on the beginner route we're on the beginner course. So we're gonna have plenty of time to kind of go over movement and tech and all that kind of stuff as well. So, car choices. So, at the first half of the tournament, you're only allowed to pick from 3 different cars in the beginner tier. So those are the Ferrari 355 F1, the Chevrolet Corvette, and the Lamborghini Countach. So, world record uses the Countach. Interesting to see because I always thought the Ferrari was the faster one, but we're rolling with this one. And we're going with purple to fit in better with the aesthetic here on Duragamuffin Street. So, right now, so the weird, unnatural way that my car is moving is essentially me going around corners by lightly tapping the handbrake. That's right, I am not using the actual brakes on this car. And with high speed of a track that this is, I really don't need to. Only place really that I'd need to use the brakes for at all would probably be this sharp right-hand corner that's coming out at the main street of town here. So, here, nice little drift around here, and onto the back half. We do love the purple here. Alrighty, so, like I said, Hometown, there's not really too much to it. We're going to be in and out of here awfully quickly. So, for the most part, most of these tracks take about
your best lap, lap 3.
2.5 minutes a piece per lap. This is the only one that's short enough where you can reliably have little over a minute per lap. And it's kind of the bookend to the final track, the Summit, which is the longest track in the game. And that one, if you're really fast, you'll cut it under 3 minutes. Let's see here. So, a little bit of history with this game. This is one of the first video games I ever remember playing as a little kid. This, along with Test Drive 4, Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2, and Spyro the Wild. Yeah, it's just a good comfort game. It's definitely one of my top 5 games on the PlayStation 1, and I love this thing. I'm also a little interested in seeing if I can snag Whir from in-game
That's
time.
your best lap.
Because I watched the world record run last night while at work, just to kind of study where I can potentially save some time. And, you know, just how to tackle the courses the most effectively. Interestingly enough, there were a few approaches and a few tricks that I was sat there like, wow, that's genius. I've never thought of doing that. And this is going to be prominent, especially with the trick that's going to be showing up on the expert version of this track. That is about 3 races after this one, after we clear all the bonus tracks, or all the beginner tracks. But we're going to be coming to the end here on Hometown. Fun fact, the little town that I passed through, its actual name is Oakville if you look at the signs. It's just generally supposed to be reminiscent of small town America. In fact, I'm pretty sure all these tracks are supposed to take place in North America.
That's your best lap. You've won the race.
And that's the first race done. We have 7 more to go. So, off we go to the next track, which is Red Rock Ridge. This here is a canyon course, a little bit more technical than Hometown, but it's still going to have plenty of good high-speed sections. And there's a little spot right there at the bottom. You see where it crosses over on the outline of the track? So from there, we're going to be seeing a nice little shortcut that's actually pretty simple to execute.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, off we go. Going through the main street of town here. Little right-hand corner through here. That's the gas station. Alright, so through here the roadway splits, but you can go in between the rock formations around these parts. Very interesting design of a lot of these tracks. See all those dinosaur bones sticking out of the canyon there. For 1998, this is a very impressive looking game. Okay, so here's the skip I was talking about. Or the shortcut, rather. So, nice little slingshot through there, little brakes to get yourself to slow down so you don't smash against the rock formation there, and you just kind of slide on through. Now here's definitely a lot more of the high-speed parts of the track. We're just going to be just kind of speeding through the canyons. Okay. I feel like it's a good opportunity to talk about the soundtrack. So, there are 2 tracks apiece per environment, shall we say. So there's the country environment, the canyon environment, the city environment, and the mountain environment. So each of those have 2 music tracks apiece. There's a rock-oriented one, and then there's a techno-oriented one. All the music in this game is fantastic, and it suits... If you're more into rock or just more into techno, you're going to be covered in terms of what you're going to like in terms of music. There's a team of artists that worked on a lot of the Need for Speed games. So the rock soundtrack that was playing on the last track we were at was done by Saki Kaskis. One of my favorite video game composers of all time. Sadly, we lost him in 2016 to cancer. There are a few other artists attached to this. Right now we're listening to a piece by Rom DiPrisco. They are a techno artist that still showing stuff and still, pumping out bangers of tracks on Spotify and Bandcamp and all that. They are pretty much the premier techno artist in a lot of the Need for Speed games. Like a lot of the wonderful techno songs from the early era of Need for Speed games come from Rom DiPrisco. And we're listening to the Desert theme that he put together. It's called Cetus 808. And another layer to the music in these.
You beat the lap record.
So
Lap 3.
in this game and Need for Speed 2, the tracks are dynamic. So there's a different part of the piece that will play based on how fast you're going, what place you're in, and what area of the track you're in. And it's adapted to all different kinds of situations that you're going to be in gameplay-wise. If we were in Hot Pursuit mode, there's a separate kind of piece of the song that plays when you're getting chased by the cops. There's another little kind of tone that plays when you wreck your car. That kind of thing. So, yeah, and that's one of the many things I love about the soundtrack. Is that it's almost like it's being scored live while you're driving. Later installments would take this further in a few other regards. Most notably Need for Speed Most Wanted, which had adaptive music during the police chase scenes. So all the pieces for those kinds of things add up to well over 30 minutes to 45 minutes in terms of just the sheer amount of pieces that are kind of stitched together when you're being chased by cops. Yeah. Most of the people I've talked to prefer the techno tracks here.
It's the final.
My personal preference are the rock tracks, but to be fair, all of it's good. I agree. Alright, so we are gonna be wrapping up Red Rock Ridge here pretty quickly. One last look at Fossil Canyon over there. one last shooting of the gap. On beginner mode, you don't really have too much to worry about when it comes to the other competitors if you're familiar enough with the controls and the way the cars are going to behave. This is my favorite Need for Speed, primarily because it's the sum of all of its moving parts. It's the cars, it's the music, it's the track designs, and it's how driving feels in this game as well. So, granted, the cars all feel very light. They're very responsive, very maneuverable. That's sacrificed a little bit more in favor of realism in the next installment, High Stakes. But this never fails to be a fun time.
You've won the race.
So we are done with Red Rock Ridge. Next track is going to be the city track at Lanica. Just as soon as we get past all the loading screens and the menus. Alrighty. Alright, so this track takes place in a very nice, futuristic looking city. Very clean, very sterile, very carries a lot of good beachside type vibes. So I hear we got the techno track again, so that would be Aquila 303 if I remember correctly. The architectural designs in this track are very interesting to look at as well. Alright, so driving by the apartments, and instead of going on the roadway, we're going to be going in this little canal here, and this is going to give us a good setup to tackle this little complex right here. Mainly it's the angle that we want on that one. If you're going on the main roadway, it's a little bit sharper of an angle. You're probably going to lose some speed, or if you aren't careful, you're just going to smack against the wall and kind of tumble. Out of a lot of tracks in this game, I'm kind of interested on seeing what this would probably look like in like an HD remaster or something. There's the Electronic Arts building, just kind of, or, you know, billboard and building nearby here. They gotta, you know, plug their own game in their game. Alright, so here's the boardwalk, which is a very high-speed section. You can take this without lifting off the throttle, but it is a little on the precise end. And some well-timed taps of the emergency brake, the handbrake, and you're able to navigate those quick little dog legs awfully quickly.
Lap 2.
There's a lot of sections in the beginning courses, in the beginner courses where you can just bury the needle and just be going at your vehicle's top speed. You're encouraged very much to go full send on a lot of these places. Alright, so that was a little bit of a little oopsie there. Swing to the outside and brushing against the wall cuts off a lot of speed from you. got a donation here, 10 quid. Thank you very much for donating. All these donations do go to Duragamuffins, gender-affirming surgeries. Thank you very much. He's been an amazing friend and just a very supportive friend for quite a long time. Very prominent in the speedrunning community. We appreciate her, and yeah, we want to do well for her.
You beat the lap record. Lap 3.
This area in particular, I think, would be awesome. Like just seeing a modern render of. Like I said, the architecture in this area and this track just looks amazing. It's also kind of funny just seeing what passed for futuristic in 1998 also. Lots of blue on white. Alright. Onto the boardwalk again. We're looking pretty good here, I'd say. Just keeping that needle good and buried.
You beat the lap record. It's the final lap.
Well, I reckon, does anyone have any questions about this game, the run, the marathon? If we're all just chilling, that's fine too. I ask because, kind of running out of things to gush about on this game. I just love this thing, man. All sorts of games I grew up with, especially as a young kid, because I also played this alongside like Spire 1 and a couple of the early Crash games. We're at the very end here at Atlantica. Just got this last stretch to go. We're setting some pretty blazing lap times here. Getting very much into the high minute range. Sub 2.
You beat the lap record.
Ready.
You've won the race.
Okay. On we go to the mountain course. Rocky Pass. after this loading screen loads. Alrighty, so this is the longest of the beginner tracks, and this is going to be the case for the other mountain track also. Oh, we are on
3,
Techno
2,
Hours again.
1, go!
This is Nosos from Saki Kaskas. Very nice, hard-hitting track. So this one's going to be a lot more windy and technical than the other ones have been. It's still a beginner course, to be sure, but definitely a fair bit longer and will catch you out. There's a lot more opportunities for oopsie moments. Alright. The scenery here is also awfully beautiful as well, even if it is 1998 bitmaps and such. Through this tunnel, and we're going to be on the high-speed part of this track, where there's going to be a lot of... The road's going to be fairly winding, but fairly high-speed. You just got to make sure you're in a good rhythm with it. Alright, so up here is going to be a very hard left. What we do want to do, we do want to tap the brakes here a little bit, and then just slide on through. If you tackle that at full throttle, you're going to hit the guardrail and your car's going to tumble. Which, oddly enough, hasn't been... I don't think I've necessarily tumbled once in this run so far, which is interesting. But here we go on the downhill switchbacks. Kind of an interesting set piece in this track. Yeah, it's Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Alright, through town here. And we're coming back to the start line here. So as you can see by the timer on this track versus the other ones, this track's significantly longer than the ones we've been doing. We're at 2.5 minutes per lap on this one. But, yeah. Oh, another thing about the music, if I may. So, each song also kind of carries their own sort of mood along with it as well. So we've got a very hard-hitting, very fast-paced kind of techno beat for this one. And it conveys a lot of, like, drama, if that makes sense. If there's... Like, you'd feel like it'd be playing during, like, an action movie, or like a Bond chase scene or something in the mountains, where, like, the slightest twitch is going to send you careening off the side. And then the rock track, which you're not hearing, but you might hear a little bit later if it pops up during the summit. There's, like, this just general vibe where it sounds like you're having... You know, you're just going up to the mountains, you're going camping with your friends, that kind of thing. Like, it's very much a... hey, let's head to the mountains, let's have some fun kind of deal. That's kind of a common trend with the rock tracks versus the techno tracks. The rock tracks definitely have like this lot more laid-back vibe because it's very butt rocky, if that makes sense. Hey, Flazuki, thanks so much. Welcome in. And Glued, I would definitely say that I've got the need for speed. I don't know how long ago you posted that message in my chat, but I'm answering it now. But yeah, on the city tracks like Atlantica and Aquatica,
You beat the lap record.
the
Lap
rock
3.
track, which, funny enough, is named Rear Flutter Blast number 19. Just has a very much kind of a, hey, let's all go to the beach kind of vibe. Just that kind of like, hey, let's have some fun. Let's go get some sun. Let's go get some rays. Let's go, you know, have fun in the ocean, that kind of thing. And for the canyon track, doesn't really have like a hey, let's go sightseeing in the canyons kind of thing, but at the very beginning, it definitely kind of has tones of like a Wild West duel kind of dealio. Like especially at the very beginning. But then it descends into like just absolute cat jammer of a rock track as you're speeding through the canyons. Oop, that's a little oopsie. That's gonna shave it. That's gonna lose us a little bit of time. Because we ain't doing that entire, not doing that entire, section at 180 miles an hour. Oh, by the way, if anyone's confused, I mean, I am American, you probably figured it out, but, the speedometer up there is in miles per hour, not kilometers an hour. There's an interesting addition to the next installment where the units that they used for your speed are dependent on exactly where the track takes place, or where the track takes place. So if it's in Europe, the speed units are actually in kilometers an hour. If you're in a track that takes place in the United States or Canada, then it's miles an hour. In this game, all the tracks take place in the United States except the mountain tracks, which take place in
final
Canada.
lap.
But yeah, this little behemoth of a track is pretty close to done. We've just got one more lap to go. And then we move on to a faster car and a little bit more serious series of tracks. So we're going to see the same environments we've been seeing. It's just they're going to be significantly tougher. There's going to be a little detour where it deviates from the beginner route and into the more advanced and technical routes. We're going to be seeing a lot more high-speed, sharp corners. We're going to be seeing a lot more technical sections. And in the next track, there's a little strat that I discovered yesterday watching the world record holder, where there's a shortcut that's kind of schmuck bait, because it's when you pass by it, it looks like a clearing that lets you just bypass, like, a long corner or whatever, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in the way where you're going to be going so slow to navigate it, where it's not even going to matter, like, how much time you save, because you're going to actually be losing it. So, there's a little strat that I learned watching the world record holder that we're going to get to when we get there. But for this point in time, we're going to just tackle these consecutive hairpins. and finish this race out. Up we go. All right. And that is...
You beat the lap record. You've won the race.
Okay, so next one. I just realized something. My splits are compared against game time and not real time. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to select the higher tier cars. So we're still going to be Lamborghini gang because the Diablo SV is the best available car to us. Okay, off we go. So we're going to be seeing other Lamborghini Diablo SVs. We're going to be seeing the Ferrari 550 Maranello, and we're going to be seeing the Ital Design Nazca C2. Very interesting concept car that was penned for BMW. Didn't make it to production, but would have been amazing. Alright, so if you were here at the very beginning of the run, you might notice the environment's changed a little bit, but we're in the same place we started with Hometown. So, you're going to see a lot of different landmarks that might be a little bit more familiar to you. In the advanced tracks, it's another kind of visual change where, to differentiate it from the beginner track visually, they either make it take place in the winter where there's plenty of snow on the ground, or the track takes place at sunset. So the backwoodsy kind of tracks and the mountain tracks are obviously going to be the ones with the snow, and the more, shall we say, more heated environments like the city and the canyons are going to be taking place at sunset, which is going to be very neat for a visual flair. Alright, so this little skip here, it's coming up after these very quick, very consecutive right angle turns. Alright, so there's going to be a clearing coming up on my right after this corner. So I'm going to explain what it is after it's done. So, boom. Okay. So what we just did, there's this little kind of clearing that you have to kind of slowly navigate your way through. Either that or you just kind of go the long way through. So what I just did there, and I thought this was amazing when I saw this in World Record. So what she did is she tricked the game into thinking she was on the other side of that clearing. So she didn't have to navigate much of anything. Pretty much your only obstacle, really, is to get past that one tree that might mess up your line a little bit. But otherwise, it's... But otherwise, I mean, that shaves off a lot of time. It kind of takes a joke shortcut and makes it into an actual legitimate shortcut. So when your car's going a certain speed, a certain, you know, if you're going slow enough, you're able to hit reset and it'll respawn you back on track. And by tricking the game into thinking we're already on the other side, that eliminates the need to go mega slow on that. So we're going to be seeing if we can nail that 3 more times. Okay. We're going to swing it around the right here. Could have tackled that one a little bit better. right. So on the right here, what you're also hearing after I crash is pretty much an example of what the music does whenever you wreck your car. It's a little kind of like a scare sting in a like movie soundtrack where it's like, uh-oh, something bad happened. Fun fact, this area that we go to is referred to as Crystal Lake in-game. At least according to the signage. Crystal Lake was also kind of an area in the first Need for Speed game in the Alpine point-to-point track. It's most likely not the same Crystal Lake, but Need for Speed, from time to time, will reference their older works. And Need for Speed Heat, the most recent installment, is the...
You beat the lap record. Lap 3.
They do a ton of referencing to older games. Referencing the main antagonist from Most Wanted. There's a couple of signs that are present in the game that, you know, actively name, like, first generation Need for Speed games locales by name. By the pier, there's a sign that points towards Atlantica. There's a Monolith Studios sign in the southwestern part of the map. And Monolith Studios is the secret track from Need for Speed 2. Okay. There we go. I'm expecting a pretty decent gold on this split because I didn't even know about that strat until about, I want to say probably about 16 to 20 hours ago. Because I remember seeing her go for that, and I'm just sat there like, really, you're going for that slow thing? And then, like, she wrecks, and it didn't register that she skipped that long corner. And so I was like, yeah, I didn't think that'd be super, super doable. But on the second lap, she does that again. That's when it finally clicked what exactly she was doing. And I just remember being sat there like, that's genius. I don't know how long ago that was found. I don't know if that's a thing that she discovered on her own or if it's a trick that's been known about. Not a lot of discussion really in the Need for Speed Discord, or at least not in the older games that I tend to have grown up with. Most of the discussion usually revolves around like the black box era of games, so Underground 2, Most Wanted, Carbon, Pro Street, that kind of thing. Oop, that's a little bit wider of a slide than I was expecting, but oh well, it's on snow, what can you do? Right here. Alright, one more on this. Let's see we don't get tripped up by the tree. Off we go. Oop. Lost a little bit of traction there, almost kind of drove off. But yeah, we've worked down our fastest lap to like 2 minutes and 13 seconds. That's awfully quick. I'm getting a little sloppy on these corners, though. Alrighty, so we're going to rejoin the beginner part of the track, going by the river. Passing underneath the railways. Alrighty. Alright. 5 down, 3 to go. And we have golded that by a very fine chunk. We've saved 19 seconds over PB, and that is a very, very clear gold. Alrighty, Lost Canyons. So, as you can probably guess, this is the canyon track, the expert canyon track. This is going to take place at the same little saloon that you start off at with, or start off by in Red Rock Ridge. So, yeah, we're going to see some very interesting things towards the end here. Because we're going to go to the depths of the canyon floor. Saying hi to the satellite installation, the gas station, the little rock formations here. Another trek through Fossil Canyon over here. And we're going to hang a left this time. We're not going to see that little crossover jump thing that I showed off in beginner track. So we're just going to be plunging deeper and deeper into the canyon floors. And we're going to see some very interesting architecture down here. And it looks like a whole bunch of ruins here, like it's a tomb or something. And then we're starting to crawl out of the underground here, and we have this very massive, multi-layered freeway here. It's important to kind of pick a lane and stick with it until they converge and go flat. Because being on an incline or, you know, sideways is going to lose you a lot of speed, and by consequence, a lot of time. I tend to like going on this middle path here. Because while that path off to the left might be shorter, technically, I don't like that jump there, because that's going to lose me a lot of speed. But yeah, we've reconverged onto the beginner route. And that's about 2.5 minutes. So we're roughly... Track length-wise, we're about the length of Rocky Pass. Also, I've noticed that we're listening to the absolutely butt-rockin' canyon theme here by Matt Reagan. Something yet that we'll see when it comes to a lot of Need for Speed games. Or at least the early ones, music-wise. The tracks have very interesting names to them. So, but you can kind of tell who wrote which one based on how it's named. Ron D. Prisco really likes his mythological type names, and also like a numbering schema. So his tracks are usually like Romulus 3, Hydrus 909, Aquila 303, Cetus 808, that kind of thing. Matt Reagan probably has the most interesting track names. This one that we're listening to is called Snorkeling Cactus Weasels. The city one that he composes is Rear Flutter Blast number 19. Make your fart jokes while you can. And let's see here. And the mountain track is called Snowbags. Not to say Saki Kaskus doesn't get kind of interesting with his names either. The rock track that he composes for the country tracks is called Little Sweaty Sal. Alright, we are halfway done here with Lost Canyons. After this, we have 2 more tracks to go.
You beat the lap
We are
record.
very much on
Lap
PB
3.
base. At least RTA, we're on PB base. And I'm confident in terms of in-game time, even though I haven't calculated it for the other tracks, or my other runs, rather. We might... Nah, I'm not even gonna get hopes up on that. But I will definitely calculate the in-game time after this run is done. Or rather, after Glued's run is done, because I do love watching me some R4, some Ridge Racer Type 4. So be sure to stick around for that. Glued's work in R4 has been amazing. He's ground out that game a lot, and he's earned a lot of recognition and praise from the top runners, like the world record holder and former world record holders, that have been just amazed with how quickly he progressed and just improved in the category. And that's not necessarily a very easy game, let me tell you, from having run it a few times. So you're in for a treat if you stick around after this run. Alrighty. So there are 2 competitions in this game. There's Tournament, which we're doing right now. So that's all 8 normal tracks, 4 laps apiece. And the tournament is scored on a point system. Just pretty much just finish first in every race and you've got nothing to worry about. The other competition is knockout competition. So, as you can probably guess, the last driver in each race gets eliminated from the competition until
the
final race, which is just a duel between you and whoever survives with you. The tracks there, or the races there, are 2 laps instead of 4. And there's 8 normal tracks, but there's a bonus, kind of secret track that only appears at the very end of knockout competition. That is Empire City. We're not going to be seeing that during this run. But in that one, there are 7 races instead of 8. And you have 7 opponents to kind of go 1 per race. But the very final race always has to be on that extra secret track. So, if you're looking at the track list here, and thinking, well, there's 7 races, and one of them has to take place on the bonus track that isn't really used. That means there's only 6 races that take place on normal tracks. So, which races are in, or which tracks are in the normal knockout competition? Well, that's the reason I'm running tournament mode instead of knockout mode. So the first 4 tracks are all 4 of the beginner races. That one's always a constant. Races 5 and 6, however, are this game's RNG element. So, for race 5, you could either be sent to Country Woods or Lost Canyons. And for race 6, you're either sent to Aquatica or the Summit. Optimally, you want Country Woods for race 5, and you want Aquatica for race 6, because those tracks are quicker, they're shorter. So your time can be very much just determined by what the game decides to give you. Alright, we have golden another split. We are currently 29 seconds ahead of PB RTA. We have 2 tracks left. Let's see if we can't keep a good hold on these on this time save that we've got afforded to us. Very lovely, lovely track image there. And we have the rock track.
3, 2, 1, go!
Very happy to hear this one. I love the rock music in this game. As I said, the techno music's very, very much a bunch of bangers as well. But here's where my preference kind of lies. Alright, so very early departure from the beginner route. Most of that's going to be on the back half of the track. So, where we were mostly in the city for the beginner track, now we're going to be racing along the coast here, like the cliffs. There's a little shortcut there. It doesn't really save you any time because of how slow you need to be to go into it, and it sends you launching into the air like directly, like face first into the guardrail as well. So that shortcut's not really worth it. Alright, now here's the best set piece, one of the best set pieces in the game. So this here is Neptune Tunnel, where you're racing underwater. And I would definitely love to see kind of an HD kind of remaster of specifically that part of the track. We're racing along kind of the spooky parts of the coast here, with some sculpted heads, some sculpted skulls that kind of are reminiscent of the Easter Island sculptures and rock formations. But we're going to be rejoining the beginner route here pretty soon here. Alright, and now we're back to the high-speed boardwalk, this time with a very, very lovely and beautiful sunset scenery. Notice how kind of triumphant the soundtrack sounds in this part of the track. Like, hey, they're on their way back. They're almost there. Now, because I'm in a much faster car, those dog legs are a little bit trickier to tackle at 200 miles an hour as opposed to 180. But with any luck and just decent reaction time, we just cruise on through. Little tunnel here. Still trying to scrape for a little bit of grip. We're going to be losing a little bit of time there. Swinging around that bend. Swinging down through here. Down through here. Back through Neptune Tunnel. Swinging it to the right, swinging it to the left. Here we go here. Alrighty. Yeah, of all the tracks, I feel like this one's probably
You beat the lap
the most
record.
gorgeous
Lap
visually.
3.
Because all the blue on white that's in the normal one, now we introduce a lot of warm tones to the color palette because of the sunset. I mean, who doesn't like kind of visiting the coast, you know? It's almost like kind of driving down the Pacific Coast Highway. Maybe not quite, but you know, it's just one of those things that I can kind of imagine. Back through Neptune Tunnel. As you can see, kind of like small little visual details. If you didn't catch it, there's a submarine just kind of going up in the top left corner. Just kind of casually cruising back and forth. And another little detail that's kind of more prominent around this area and the boardwalk. Yep, you can see it popping up out on the left there. There's a cruise ship that's just taking off. And it'll also reappear on your left when you're driving past the boardwalk. Kind of makes a little loop, shall we say. And those are the kind of visual details, small little visual details that make, you know, tracks like this very charming. Okay. Woo! Okay, we almost hit the wall there. That almost lost us a fair bit of speed, but easy enough to kind of easy enough to just kind of navigate. We've got one more pass through this very lovely, very beautiful track. favorite set pieces in the game we're saying goodbye to. Very windy, losing maybe a little bit more speed than I mean to. But up we are out of the tunnel. And onto the coast. If I'm not mistaken, these are called the Rapa Nui cliffs, but I could be wrong. Where I'm getting all of these names from are actually from the PC version. A lot of, in that one and High Stakes, there's a little bit of police chatter where cops will be calling out like exactly where you are, that kind of thing. And a lot of these names kind of correspond to different parts of the track. Okay. All right. After this, we have one more race to go. We are currently 36.7 seconds ahead of PB, RTA. Yeah, we are about to embark on the longest track in the game. It's gonna be very long, it's gonna be very tight, it's gonna be very tricky, especially towards the end. So yeah, we're back into the mountains. As you can see, there's a much more wintry disposition here. PB during a marathon? Yeah, it might just happen. Depends on how badly I screw up here.
3, 2, 1, go!
As Matt Reagan kind of serenades us with the very interestingly named snowbags. This part of the track's always very nice to listen to because it's just kind of like, oh, we're going up into the mountains and we're hanging out with friends and we're going to go camping, we're going to go hiking, we're going to go sightseeing, we're going to go mountain climbing, that kind of thing. So you aren't going to be hearing the piece because I'm in first place, but if I were in a lower position in the field, there's a very interesting segment to this song that I feel really captures like the wonder of like seeing a wonderful kind of mountain view. Alrighty, so here we come to the cliffs, but we're not going the same way that we were on the other track, because that part's all snowed in. Here we're going off to the much higher part of the cliffs that are a fair bit more treacherous, and yeah. So we're going to slow her down a little bit here because these switchbacks are a little bit more punishing and require you to kind of slow down a little bit more. Alright, so over here is going to be interesting because we're by the ski lodge here. And the designers had kind of a little interesting idea of like, hey, if you're by the ski slopes, why not make this part of the track a lot like a ski slalom? So you're going to be seeing a lot of winding back and forth. And we're done skiing. Very interesting part of the track. Right, off to the left here, off to the right. All right, so we're going to be seeing a very slow, sharp kind of right angles here in town. So Alright, shoot the gap here. There we go. That is very tight, and that's probably the one place I'm most worried about in this run. Because shooting that gap is very tight, but it shaves off a bunch of time and it gets you plenty of a good shot to get your speed back up at the very end. Alright, we got 3 more circuits left on this one before it's GG. I'm walking away with the PB tonight, but after I do my IGT runs, we'll see, maybe, if it's a world record or not. Or, if not, I'll just be that much closer to Yunn, who is the current world record holder. But again, I'm not going to bother calculating the in-game time until after Khaloud's R4 run, because I do like watching me some R4. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Okay. Going back to skiing. This part of the track feels especially fun when you nail it right. Because you do get to kind of picture yourself in the Olympics, just kind of boom, boom, just nailing the slalom. Alrighty. Alrighty, we'll see how we go on this one. Might just slow down a little bit more, might use the brakes a little bit. And let's make that shot nice and easy. If I want most of my speed, I'm gonna have to full confidence my way through there, but for now, we've only got to tackle that little treacherous section 2 more times. And we have sub-freed on this track. Very interesting to see. I must be doing something right. I'm sat here thinking about how a lot of each lap on this track is essentially the same amount of time as the more practiced Vortex runners are getting out of Artisans. At least if Dog Proxy and Toasty Wall Glide, or hell, even Town Square cooperates. Skyboxes in this game are gorgeous. This entire scenario, though, would be very harrowing in real life, though. Being in a high-bucks, like supercar, going really fast on tight, winding mountain roads in the snow. I would be so afraid, of just sliding off the mountain or something like that. And hit this credit skip to cooperate. Used to be able to do it. Ah, dang. Yeah, credit skip in Spyro 1's very gnarly. Like, I can't even begin to figure out exactly how to make that magic happen. Ready? Off we go. Alrighty. We're making our way to the little gap we gotta shoot. The little town gap. So we're down a little bit. Oh, lose a little bit of speed skidding out, but here we go. One more lap. We're going to be finishing strong here. PB is pretty much mine for the taking, barring something completely catastrophic happening. Yeah, time's gonna be when I cross the finish line next, and I'm definitely gonna be calling the queue out when I get close. But the next time I have to shoot that gap is probably when to get ready, after I get out of that town there. Overall, this has felt like an amazing run, personally, performance-wise. Lord knows could probably do a little bit more to practice my commentary a little bit while running. But otherwise, yeah. This has been fun, this has been enjoyable, this has been, I dare say it's a pretty good run. Alright. Up the cliffs. Alrighty. Swinger to the left. Swinger to the right. Oh, thank you, Pixie. And Chrissy. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Alright. Will I get the gold medal here on this slalom course? Alright, let's hear from the judges. Got a 10, and got a 7 from the Russian judge. Oh well, you can't win them all over. Alright, slow her down a little bit. There we go. Alrighty, get ready for time. Gonna be coming up here in just a small handful of seconds. On to the home straight. 3, 2, 1, time!
The lap record. You've won the race.
That is a 40-second PB RTA. 1 hour, 18:24.
Good.
Alrighty, continue. We won 64 points to the next person's 54. Yep, Glued, this is PB. I can definitely say PB. I'm going to have to calculate the in-game time to see how I stack up against world record, but yeah, that's the run, and your reward for winning the beginner tournament is the Jag XJR 15. the graphics won't do it very good justice, but if you look up the car in real life, the thing's absolutely beautiful. Alrighty, so that's about it for me. Next up, we're gonna have Loves to Be Glued down there in chat. That's gonna, yeah, he's gonna be running R4 for all y'all. R4 any percent, and it's gonna be an amazing run. He's very amazing at the category. He's just absolutely amazing. He's top 10. But yeah, thank you very much for having me, and have a good night.